screwing around and start.
One of the few people playing the deck, and it's really, really fun. There's some really cool cards, and in OCG you actually see stuff like Edge Imp Scissors being played in other decks, and so I figured I would talk about it. So we're going to start off, speaking of Edge Imp Scissors, I'm only playing one. I do currently have down here the other two, but you only need one in the deck. It recycles itself, it's searchable. You can search it with like 100 billion different things in the deck, and also in the end of the deck you can bring it back with Leviair if you're running the Leviair. Moving on, we have the 2 copies of Cat and 2 copies of Rabbit. They add back your Poly and monsters when you're going for fusion OTKs, so having 2 of each is fine. If you really wanted to, you really don't need 2 of the Cat per se, or of the Rabbit. You could run 1 of each, and you could run 1 Rabbit and 1 Cat, or like 2 Cat, 1 Rabbit. I would really suggest running more Cat, because adding back Poly is really, really good. Moving on, we have 3 dog and 2 lion as your level 4s. The dogs is the main one. You search for things, and that's really, really good for your deck. You just really want to be able to search for as much as you can. And Lions 21 is great. I've actually been considering trying 3 again, but the 2's been working fine, and you get it when you need to, and you can just search for it. A lot of times you just use them as a fusion material, but normal summon in 21 is huge. We have the 3 Owl. Owl is great. You use Owl with your Junk Synchron just because using Owl just gives you the rank 5 plays really easily, lets you go 8s really easily with Edge Imp in play, and this card is just beautiful for those sakes. The Owl, it searches for the Poly, and you want to get Poly as fast as you can, so that way you can hopefully get an OTK in play. And we're going to just move on. We have 3 Junk Synchron. Junk Synchron works with everything but the level 4s, because you can special summon this guy, and he just keeps coming back for you. So you can go this guy for this guy for this guy for a rank 7 if you're, or a level 7 if you're using stuff like Black Rose. This guy plus this guy plus this guy for 8, this and this for 4, this and this for 5, and you can just go him plus this to go into a 6, because that guy can pull himself back, and doing that is really good since you can just make all the different synchro levels if you want it. Then we have 3 Edge Imp and 3 Tour Guide. Tour Guide Edge Imp, Tour Guide Edge Imp. They make stuff like Fortune Tune and Leviathan for you, and they let you search for this when you decide that it's time to try and push for a game. As well as we're going into spells, we are currently playing 2 creature swap, because everything up here you don't really care about except for this guy and this guy. You can give your opponent a Scarm, and then when it dies on their side of the field, you got their monster, you got a plus in the end phase. It's really nice because of that. You have stuff like Edge Imp that you can give your opponent. It's really cool because then you can just attack it, put it in your graveyard, and use it again. You can give them stuff like Rabbit and Cat and such, just making it so it's never a dead card, especially with talking about the Edge Imp. This card is always a viable card, so if you have 2 spells in your hand, you can stack a card to summon the Edge Imp and then creature swap for their big monster, which could be a game changer if you're in a bad situation. We have 2 MST and 2 Poly. We only need 2 Poly. You can run a 3rd. I've been debating it, but the main thing is this card right here searches for it, and yes, we have 3 searchers and only 2 targets, but it doesn't ever be dead because of how searchable the deck can be. And these 2 cards right here just keep all your monsters and spells in play, so that way you don't have to worry about losing them. As well as we have the 1 Raigeki. I wasn't running it, but now I'm running it because you just can OTK really easily. So just go Raigeki and then bam, 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 and you're good. A card that I've been really closely running and not running, I've been going back and forth with, is Fusion Weapon. Fusion Weapon is amazing in the deck because this guy right here, if he's your 100% like your main goal, you can get a 3,500 attack point monster that can attack up to as many times as you feel like. You can make it attack up to 6 times at 3,500 attack, which is beautiful because it doesn't say monsters, it doesn't say anything like that. This card can attack as many times as the fusion materials for the summon. So that can be a lot. You can get it to attack like 10 times if you're insane with your hand size and stuff. Now, we have 1 rank up match to the 7th one because Edge Imp stacks it. So if you open with it, you can just summon Edge Imp and have it die. Edge Imp to field, put that on top, next turn draw the card and reveal it, and it's beautiful. We have 1 soul charge because summoning back 400 things is beautiful, and you can even just summon back like 3 of these and 1 of this, like 3 of these and just XYZ2 into something normal summon, then have 1 of them die, and then you can get cool effects with that. And then we have 3 copies of Toy Pot because Toy Pot, you can discard Toy Pots with it. You can discard this with Toy Pot. You can discard Toy Pot with this. You can have this guy get discarded with the Toy Pot. You can discard this guy to the grave and get him into play easier. This card just, you can have it triangle plus, and with stuff like the scissors being able to stack things. If you have scissors, stack a Furnimal, discard this guy, or discard a Toy Pot for its effect, then you can discard that, draw a card, have the effect of what you sent go off, hopefully add another card, and hopefully go plus from that. For chest, we're running 1 Compulse, 3D Prison, a Mirror Force, and 3 copies of Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. I really like the 1 Mirror Force in here. Mirror Force is just kind of a personal attack for when I'm facing something that's not 100% meta. Though if I actually were to take it to a tournament, I don't know if I'd run this still. I'd probably take this out and I might try to run the Fusion Weapon, because being able to just do that 35 and attack a bunch of times is really nice, especially since it can wipe on the entire board, like just fusing with a couple cards. And if you have this guy, let's say you have this, you normal summon this turn, and this in your hand, and you can summon 2 fusions that can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can get a lot of summons in that turn because you can summon 2 monsters that can attack, each of them like 1 4 times, 1 2 times, or 3 times, and that pushes for game really easily because 2,000 that many times is just really well, especially with cards like Fusion Weapon, which I've been really debating on playing. Side deck options, you can run Veilers and you can run Maxis. You can do Leviair if your opponent has a way to banish your cards. That's up to you. I'm not going to tell you whether or not to do that because it's not my place. And you can run Gauntlet Launcher. I have been going back and forth between Gauntlet Launcher and Photon Strike Bouncer. For the extra, I'm running 1 Bouncer, 1 Dark, and 1 Arc because they work together with the Ring Cut Magic. We have 1 Fortune Tune, which is the main XYZ because just going Tour Guide, Scarm, Fortune Tune sits there for games, and when they start doing stuff, you can go plus and start exploding on your opponent. As well as we have Leviathan and Alucard because rank 3 seems to be your main XYZ engine. For fusions, we're only running 3 copies of the Wolf as you see because he's the only good one. The other one does not help your deck unless you like running him, but he's just not good for the deck in my opinion. And then for Synchros, we are running 1 Catastor and 1 Armides. Catastor is optional since a lot of decks have dark monsters right now. I really like it for the rogue decks, but he is easily just thrown out if you don't want him anymore, and you can stick whatever else you want in here. We can make Beals, we make Goyo. Goyo and Beals are really easy to make. Just go him, pull back level 2, summon this, him, pull back this, and then just it's beautiful. And we have 1 Underworld Fighter Balmung. You can run the Black Rose if you really feel like that because him, 1, 3 is Black Rose to clear the field. It's just up to you for that last Synchro slot. We also have 1 Alucard. And as I was saying, Alucard is the only other card that you make outside of the Fortune Tune, like I said a minute ago. So that is the deck. That is how it works. It's really, really fun, really cool, really consistent for the Furnimal deck. I like to make fun of the deck a little bit and calling it the fair deck of the format because a lot of the effects are kind of lackluster, like he gains 500, this searches Poly, or you can pay 500 and have it pretend to be Poly. This card right here, it's cool because it just searches 1 monster, but you can only use 1 dog per turn, and it's really interesting because of that. And it's just the deck is made jokingly to be the fair deck. Edge can be splashed, and it's just a really cool deck. Tell me what you think of this deck in the comment section below. It's really fun to duel with, and I'd like to hear you guys' opinion. And as always, have a wonderful day. Yeah.